What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. If you are rocking with this content, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. But today, I'm going to hit y'all with my thoughts on this new project from Fuego Base entitled Biggest Since Camby. So, Fuego Base, he's this Hartford, Connecticut MC who was one of Benny the Butcher's most recent signees. Now, in full candor, this is my first time listening to Fuego Base, but I see that he has been putting in work and making moves in the underground scene before Benny signed him. But Fuego Base, he's a street rapper who is lyrical. So you're gonna get a lot of heavy wordplay with him, a lot of punchlines, this real gruff, aggressive delivery, and these authentic drug raps. There's also an element of humor to his bars that's disrespectful at times. So this project, Biggest Since Camby, is his Black Soprano family debut. Contains 14 songs lasting approximately 42 minutes. It has features from Benny, Rick, Hyde, Heem, 38 Spesh, elcamino, OT The Real, Uncle Murda, Tiona, Deniece, Sheek, Louch, and Soleil. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track by track breakdown. The opener, Biggest Since Camby intro, is just a collection of news clips on violence in Hartford, so he's letting you know just how wild it gets in his small city. This is followed up by the actual song, Biggest Since Camby, where Fuego Base compares his rise and success in Hartford to that of Marcus Camby, also hailing from the city. This is backed by a gutter instrumental with an eerie vocal harmony, and Fuego Base comes through with some clever similes and punchlines. He stays big chains hanging like granny titties. So that's just one of the many witty but disrespectful bars you're gonna get on this project. I also liked Crew Solid, Never Will My Man Shuffle, cause one tiny tip could end a grand hustle. Obviously, reference to TIP and the Grand Hustle label. Yeah, as a whole, strong first song where he's putting on for his city, repping for the big BSF. Track 3, Blocked with 38 Spesh and elcamino, has this dungeon-like lo-fi beat and a hook from elcamino that sounds like he recorded it a few feet away from the microphone, but it still sounds decent. 38 Spesh has a funny line about blocking a girl's number the first time she asks for help. So he's sticking to the code with that pimpish demeanor. And Fuego Base talks about making his kids go on an OT trip with him to the mountains to move a brick. But he disguises it as a camping trip, but then he comes clean to his kids stating, I bought the Mickey D's for a budget price and told him daddy sell cane and it's your effing life. Track 4, Heavy D, is a real highlight. This is where Fuego tells a story, name dropping a lot of dead rappers. Doesn't mention all, but he covered a lot. And this was backed by some spooky keys and dense drums. I could envision both the Locks and Griselda members sounding right at home here. It's definitely one of the highly recommended tracks from this project that gives you a glimpse into his skill set. Right after is Chest Pains with Mika Means on the hook. And here we get Fuego getting personal and introspective, speaking on his mom's battle with cancer, her death, and just the regular stress from the street life. As a whole, I feel it's a solid track that, shows him in a more vulnerable light than anything else on the album. But I didn't particularly love the hook from Mika Means for some reason. Sure, I could appreciate this sentiment of this track, as it is a little heartfelt, but the hook made it sonically my least favorite. Following this is Holding On with Heem and Tiona Deniece, and it has a sunnier, dreamier backdrop courtesy of Ricky Hyde. It's something smooth to ride to and reflect on. Heem and Fuego Base are spitting some pain rap, speaking on hard times and surviving the trenches, and Tiona Deniece sings her heart out on the hook as well. And I could be bugging, but I was able to detect the melody from Tupac's Thug's Passion from the double album on here. Did anyone else hear that, or maybe I'm going crazy? Even though Fuego's bars are a little more serious on this track as well, he still manages to sprinkle in some comedy with They killing here in daylight, so my strap is big as Young M.A.'s is on a date night. But one good inspirational, heartfelt bar that he had was, wrote this verse in the shirt that I had on when I signed to Deniece. You can definitely feel that. Next is Quality with OT the Real. So we get some detailed coke talk coming from these two gentlemen over, a chilly, ominous beat. Fuego states, she got 5 kids. I know a brick can fit up in her. The man's a savage. I mean, he might actually be more disrespectful than 38 Spesh. I did like OT the Real's verse as well. He has some very vivid movie-like lines like, I seen neighborhoods fall to drug wars. I really had the 2x4 latch behind my front door because the basement's like a gun store. My number is always going to be lower. You had to front yours. Track 8, House Phone with elcamino, is backed by some nocturnal boom bap. I like the outer space synths and just the wavy quality to it. And there are some lines that jumped out of me right away, like, on 10 toes is how I truly stand. I got demons haunting me like Pookie Loke hunt Gucci Man. Also, industry politics play no factor with me. The lamest thing in the world is a rapper to me. Fuego Base is very clear that he's not the type of a rapper to stand over other rappers or, play this goofy industry politics. Immediately after is Take a Look with Benny, Rick Hyde, Uncle Murda, and Low Profile. And this one is a soulful street banger. We have Rick Hyde and Fuego doing it back and forth. Fuego states, Rick, you always welcome. You don't have to call or I can send enough fent to make Niagara fall. And Rick Hyde adds, one time I stepped on the dope so hard I effed my footing up. Yeah, not quite as hard as Fuego's Niagara Fall line, but it's comical for sure. Benny and Low Pro both have solid performances, but yeah, this one has a gritty mixtape feel like it could have been on a Gangsta Grillz mixtape. Track 10 is Warehouse with Benny the Butcher and OT the Real, and we get this plush cinematic soundscapes, very string heavy, and Benny appends a damn near flawless verse. And Fuego Base has an ill line in response to critics. They said I sound like Kiss, figured it would slow me, but Kobe used Michael shit to win the trophy. Following this is the Warehouse Part 2, where we get a continuation of this orchestral production. It sounds like the backdrop for a mob movie. This also features Benny, Heem, and elcamino, and Heem has a long verse spitting that pain, but it was Fuego's lines who stood out the most to me here. He said, and I be low-key getting blown off like the stallion toes. Savage. Track 12 is Tommy Brown with Rick Hyde and Sheek Louch, and it is set to some haunting sample-based production. Everyone comes through with solid verses here. I even dug when Rick Hyde said, I get 5 of them or better at the plug price. Step on everything. It's a bug's life. Sheek has a cool flip on Jada's old line. You think you Scarface, but you ain't seen the end of the movie. But here, it's you think you Franklin, but you must not watch all the scenes. Second to last track is White Lives Matter featuring Soleil, and here we have a crunchy boom bap production from Havoc. I like the crisp drums and airy vocal harmony. Fuego raps, if the rap fans don't, I know the block love me. White lives been mattered because they cop from me. So he's not being political here. He's not trying to placate white folks. He's just giving the white folks the props who copped from him, as they helped increase his bankroll over the years. And Soleil, who I've never heard before, closes it out with a dope verse, and he was sort of giving me Sky Zoo over the stovetop type vibe. Then the project closes out with Ron Francis, and it's built around a pain-filled soul sample. Fuego states, V-Class Dime is not the SSI shit. Bring licks to the bank when they SSI hit. So overall, I'm going to give this project a rating of a strong 3.5 to 4 mics. Personally, for me, I would give it a 4, but I could see why some folks would have it around a 3.5. I felt the production was raw, gritty, and rough around the edges at times, giving it a mixtape-like quality, but I dug it as a whole. Even though this is a Fuego Base solo, this also feels like a BSF compilation, but one that I enjoy more than their recent ones for sure. Fuego Base does come across as more entertaining and more talented than your average underground artist, who does street rap. At the end of the day, I'm glad I checked this project out because Fuego Base, he's got something. I mean, he's a problem lyrically, so I will be looking forward to checking out his upcoming releases. My favorite tracks include Biggest, Since Camby, Heavy D, Quality, House Phone, Take a Look, The Warehouse 1 and 2, and White Lives Matter. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. Please make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Fuego Base, Biggest, Since Camby 1.